I don't really like taking these videos in the back of our building, but we got some customers in the front, so I am going to do a walk around of this car here in the back of the property. This is the 316 Designo edition, and this car, I hate to use phrase restored, because when you're talking about restoration, first thing that comes to mind is like maybe a rust bucket, you know, that had to be all fixed up. So we don't really know the extent of the repairs, but obviously this whole car has been refreshed, and let's just call it that. And it's been done very, very nicely. Most of the car, if not all, has been at some point repainted, and it does look like it could have been done all at the same time, only because you don't really see any differences in shade. All the panels look very nice, and the age of the paint, I think it's all very consistent all around. Really the only panel where I see that it could be older than the rest of the car is the hood, and if you look from a certain angle, you can see some scratches. By the way, this car is dirty. It has been sitting inside, but it's been in the service bay, so it's got a lot of dust on it. But if you look here, there are some scratches, some surface scratches on the hood of the car. The rest of it looks very nice. The paint work is well done and of good quality all around. The car has newer looking tires. Not sure how old they are. Looks like from 2017, but they look really, really good. All around matching tires. Now the car is also running, if you can hear it, and that's because it hasn't ran for a while, and we had to jump start it. I had to jump start it to get it running. So I want the battery to kind of get charged by the alternator. Now, if we will fully charge this battery with a trickle charger and then test it. If the car needs a battery, we will obviously replace it. So again, on the outside, there is really not much to tell you about flaws or imperfections, because the car has been at some point all refreshed, and it doesn't really have many flaws. There is one little thing right here that actually feels like we may be able to buff it out. I don't know. So it looks good. Again, the paint is nice, covered with dust, but generally speaking, it looks very nice. Let's look inside. This is Designo edition with a pretty neat color combo. So it's got these sport seats with these patterns, and the seats are in very good condition. The only thing I've noticed is right here on the passenger seat, you got a little spot, but that's really, really minor. Rear seats and door panels all look good. Headliner, I'm sure has been replaced. There's no way this is original headliner, and it also looks very nice. Dash is free of cracks. Nothing here. It does have a radio that's probably not original, but definitely period correct. Well, let's look at imperfections, and these are minor. Shift knob, you know, you can get those on eBay. It's worn, and then somebody had some things installed here, and there are little holes. Two here, there's one here, and there are two more over there. I know this can be fixed. I'm assuming this was a telephone, because it has a telephone antenna mounted to the back. So these are all minor. Okay, I just noticed there's a little crack right here. Not very visible, but it's there. And one other thing which is very common for some reason, these triangles are not here. we used to get them on eBay and replace them on many cars, but I guess we could do the same thing. And one last thing to mention is, if you look at the cluster, it does have a crack. Now the good thing is, I think these clusters are not very expensive if you decide to replace it. We may even have one, and this plastic piece that is separate, so we can even give the cluster to the next buyer. Now the car is running. Mechanically, this car is very nice. Now, speaking of things that don't work that I've noticed, inside blower works, but only on a high speed. And I think that's really about it. I think everything else works fine. Okay, let's look at this engine and listen to it. This is a 4-cylinder 1.6 liter, just a little bit of 100 horsepower. The engine bay looks nice, and you could see on the lift that I don't think there were any leaks from this car. The overall looks pretty clean. This is your paint code. I don't know what this engine's gonna sound like on the film, because the sound is normally distorted, but trust me when I tell you, it is. It sounds the way it's supposed to. And these are pretty bulletproof engines. It's getting warmed up, so it runs pretty nicely. Some of these parts look like they're newer parts, so maybe somebody did a tune-up. This radiator reservoir looks also newer. Upper radiator hose looks like it's may have been replaced recently. Washer tank also looks fresh, and the way you can tell is when they get old, they just get yellow. This one is pretty nice, white and original color. It's got these covers which are often missing, which is a nice sign. And I think that's really about it. I mean, it is a nice car. Obviously, it's an older car, so when you look closely, you're gonna see some imperfections. Like, for example, you can see someone did a little touch up here on this edge, but overall it is very nicely done. There is a scratch that was touched up at some point. Yeah, this paintwork is definitely not fresh. If you look closer, you can see it's got just a couple of little nicks here and there. To me, it's a normal wear and tear on an older car, and it's also a sign that whatever was done to it was not done recently. It was probably done a few years ago, which is also nice, because you sometimes don't want a car that's been just freshly repaired and resprayed, because you don't know how quickly rust will come back if there was any rust. But this one looks like it was done some time ago. I just drove it. Feels very nice and solid. Odometer rolls. Suspension is tight. It feels very good with good power. 100 horsepower doesn't seem like a lot, but these cars are very light, and with the manual transmission they're actually a lot of fun. So anyways, call us with questions.